Hello, good evening. It's Monica from Life is Art and Script. It's almost Monday. Let's create. Have you been having a good weekend? I hope so. We are heading up to Canada Day here where I live. And so I thought I would do a layout that was sort of Canada Day themed, and show off a few of the stamps that are currently available through the Stamptacular Sale. And let me just see here. I've got everything a little bit off center. We have the Stamptacular Sale that's been going on all through the month of June, and there are some exclusive stamp sets that are only available during that sale. And one of the stamp sets is a Canada stamp set. There's also one for each of our markets. So there's Canada and the United States and Japan and Australia and New Zealand themed stamps. And so I thought, I haven't used my Canada themed stamp set yet. So I thought I would do that. Let me just grab it here so you can see what I'm talking about. It's called Home and Native Land, and it's a very gorgeous stamp set. It's got some fireworks. It's got this nice little one here. This is July 1st, Canada Day, established 1867. True North, strong and free with a big maple leaf. There's also 3 little maple leafs here. There's the Parliament buildings in Ottawa. We've got a nice flag and a flagpole, the fleur-de-lis. And then we've also got, there's barbecue, and here's another little firework happening there, our home in native land. So it's a really nice stamp set for celebrating Canada Day. And if you're like me, you probably have photos that you need to scrap from Canada Day over the years. But it's also, you could definitely use this for traveling. If you're visiting the nation's capital, any fireworks that you attend, because we have them on Victoria Day as well. And I think it's just really fun. And even, Olympics and stuff, this kind of stamp set is great for that. The other stamp set that I'm going to be using is this one, and it's also part of the Stamptacular Sale. It's called Map Your Journey Canada, and it's been available in the core catalog throughout the entire year. So this one is retiring soon. This one's only available during the sale. And so this one is actually 2 humongous stamps that make up the entirety of Canada. So if I flip it over, so you get two big stamps, and they fit together. There we go. So it makes the whole of Canada, and this is actually quite big. So you can use it as the background for layout, and that's really fun. It's got Canada, it's got lots of little flaggy things, it's got a maple leaf, and then it's got some traveling things, a little airplane, things that you can tick off where I've been, where I'm headed, where I've lived, things like that. Mark your spot on the map, that kind of thing. So it's a really cool stamp. Now today I'm actually only using just the tiny little maple leaf from it. But it is a fabulous stamp set. In fact, I just was stamping this out the other day. And it's great. You can do paper piecing too. You can have all sorts of different colors for all the provinces and territories. And if you're not from Canada, we also have the one for the United States, the one for Japan, the one for Australia, New Zealand. So we have all 5 markets covered in these Map Your Journey stamps collection. And so that's really fun. Hey, Karen, nice to see you're watching. And Mom, good evening. Hello, Sue. How's everybody doing? Oh, it's telling me I have more comments that are coming up. So these are the stamp sets I'm working with today. We're also going to be doing some stenciling. This is going to be a fun project today, I think. So the first thing I think we want to do, let's get our stenciling out of the way. So I actually need to move, I'm going to move this mat out of the way so that we can work on the stenciling. And I'm going to be using 2 stencils that are from Stencil Pack Card Front Stencil Pack number 3. I've got my all-purpose mat here down on my work surface so I can work on that. And I've got a piece of Candy Apple Red. I just want to make sure I got it on the side I want. I didn't. I had it upside down. Piece of Candy Apple Red, and I've just cut it the size that's just a little bit bigger than the card front stencil. So 5 1/4 by 6 1/2. And that's just because I want to be able to, why do I keep saying I want to be able to adhere it down to my all-purpose mat so it doesn't move around. But this is kind of a 2-part stamp. You can stamp this sort of buffalo plaid pattern by itself, or sorry, stencil. It's a 2-part stencil. But you can also add this second layer that adds the little pluses in the big boxes in between. So that's what we're going to do today. So we're creating our own, there I am at the ums again, our own pattern paper, because I didn't have any red plaid available in my stash. I'm just going to grab a piece of washi tape here to stick down my stencil, and because I've cut my paper just a little bit bigger, then it'll also hold my paper in place, just like that. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. And I'm going to be using the Distress Oxide ink for this. I'm going to be using Black Soot, and I'm just using a mini ink blending tool for this as well. This is easy. If you haven't done a lot of, there I am with ums. I don't know what it is tonight. If you haven't done a lot of stenciling before, then the mini ink blending tool is great for that. So you just grab it, get some ink on there. I've got my foam loaded up that I've used for black before. And then you just go ahead and do the pattern. Now, I don't have to do the entire sheet. I can if I want, but I don't have to because I only need a 3 by 3 square of this plaid. But I'll go ahead and ink it on, and you just go ahead and rub it. I like to go sort of in circles to kind of make sure, and I go clockwise, counterclockwise, I keep mixing it up to make sure that the ink is getting down inside all the little patterns, especially those little tiny lines on the buffalo plaid. You know, there's some tools that are a little bit better at getting into fine little spaces, but and others that are not, but this seems to work pretty good. So I'm just going to do a little bit more here, and then I will lift off the stencil so you can see. And you can also make this as light or as dark as you want in terms of the amount of ink that you're applying. So I can go ahead and lift this up just like that. If I could get a hold of it, there we go. And you can see that we've now got that nice pattern that's transferred. I'm going to set this aside. Let me just grab the washi tape off of it because we can use that again. And then bring in my other stencil. Now I can just wipe that off with a wipe or whatever afterwards. So I'm not going to worry about it right now. And I'm just going to line those little pluses up in between the big empty spaces here on my pattern, and go ahead and stick that down. And then I can just go ahead and stencil right over top of this. Now my washi tape's not sticking very well because I've already used it once, so I'm going to have to hold on to my stencil a bit. And I can just go ahead and apply my ink and all those little pluses. If you want to, you can, you know, if you had a lot of this to do, if you're making a bunch of cards or making a big background, you can absolutely move this around. So if you wanted to do a full 12 by 12 sheet of this pattern, you could absolutely do that. Not a problem, because you can just line the stencil up side by side and keep inking. It will work no problem. So again, this is from Stencil Pack number 3 in the core catalog, card making stencil pack number 3. And There we go. I'm going to stop there. Put my black soot away. Put that there so it doesn't roll around. Take my washi tape off. And then we can see what happened. There we go. Now we have a gorgeous red and black buffalo plaid that I didn't have in my stash and that I can go ahead and use. Now, if I had a wipe, I could clean up my mess, but I don't seem to see them right now, so I'm just going to leave it there. Are you okay with that if I leave my mess there? I think so. All right. So let's grab our little trimmer, our photo trimmer, because I only need a 3x3 square of this. So I'm going to go ahead and line it up on my trimmer. Just make sure, because you never know, I might not have got my stencil straight. And I can cut 3 inches one way, and then I'll cut the edge off here, like that. And I'll cut 3 inches this way, like that. And then those little scraps I can use for something else. That's the best part. Something to save for later. Put in my scrap box. All right, now I'm going to set this aside because we also want to do a little bit, and I'm going to move this even. My goodness, I'm just rearranging the whole table here while we're talking. I'm going to bring in the background sheet that I'm going to use for my layout, which is a 12x12 white daisy. And I just realized I wasn't paying any attention to your comments. I'm sorry. You don't recognize my tune, Sue? I know. I'm just going all the time. Oh, it's my daughter is into the like. Every second word is like. So maybe I picked it up from her. All right, so we have our 12x12 piece of paper, and I am going to grab the Home and Native Land, and I want to use this nice big, there it is again. Gonna have to work on that. The nice big firework. I'm gonna grab the little one too. So let's take the nice big one, just plop it there, and then the little tiny firework and plop it there. And I'll scooch those out of the way. Take my intense black ink, and oops, I've already got something loaded up on this stamp block, so I'll just take it off. There we go. So what I want to create in my background, because we're working with just a plain white daisy background, is I want to create a couple little fireworks happening in the sky. Now, of course, I've removed all my nice foam, so let's hold our breath and hope that that we get a decent, there it is again, decent stamping. There we go, not bad. So I'll do one there, and maybe one over here. We might not end up seeing the whole thing later on, but that's okay. We're okay with that. Let me just peel that off, and I need the little tiny stamp block. Grab this little guy, and we'll stamp a couple little fireworks. Isn't that so cute? Oh my goodness. So sweet. And one over there. There we go. Okay, let's take that off the block and put the one back on that I had on there. I had so many things prepared ahead of time, but they weren't necessarily in the right order. So there we go. Okay, so we've got that happening, but fireworks are a little bit more than just that. Does that make sense? So I'm just going to grab a little scrap of paper and my avocado shimmer brush. Now you might notice that I've got a label on here that says avocado. The newer shimmer brushes actually have the name of the color on them, because everybody was like, why don't we have the name of the color on there? So I used a label maker to label mine, but now, woohoo, we've moved up in the world and we have labels on there. I'm just going to give my shimmer brush, just a little bit of a squeeze to make sure I've got some nice shimmer coming out of there. Grab my pencil, I'm going to move this down a bit because I'm sure I'll splatter, and then just tap, 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 and get a little bit of that green avocado shimmer brush happening on there like that. And maybe we'll do a couple little tap, tap, taps down here as well. Just because we can, because it's there, and we might as well. So that gives us sort of a little more pew. Plus, from the shimmer brush, we also get a little bit of shimmer, a little bit of sparkle, which is fun because we're doing fireworks on a white background. You know, it's not looking as sparkly as we would on a different background. Now, I should mention that this layout that I'm working on tonight was inspired by one I saw on Pinterest. Gotta love our Pinterest. And it was from Carolyn Johnson from Sketches in Time. And time is spelled T-H-Y-M-E, just to be interesting. So there we go. We can put our table back together now that we're done doing our sort of messy-ish stuff. Okay, now, what was my next step? The next step would be, I'm going to play with my triangles or my squares. So I started out with my little bit of buffalo plaid that I created with my stencil. I'm just adjusting my table until it looks a little better in the camera. There we go. So we have a 3x3 square. We don't want to leave it just as that. So what we're going to be creating is a couple of triangles from our square. So we're going to bring back in the little photo trimmer, which is great for working with little pieces like this. And we're going to cut this, there we go again, from corner to corner. Now, I'm thinking, actually, because I want it centered on the black, I'm going to go ahead and stick it down to the black first, and then I will cut it from corner to corner, because I want that nice little black outline happening, and that will totally work. Just going to use my piercing tool to help me lift these backing bits. My thumbnail met with an unfortunate incident last week, and I still can't lift the corners of this stuff. There we go. And then I'm also going to put a little bit of adhesive this way because we've got triangles happening here and I want to make sure it sticks. So there we go. Just like that. Hey, Michelle. Nice to see you're watching. Good evening. Karen says she loves the White Daisy cardstock. Yes, it is really good cardstock. It's a nice weight of cardstock. And I'm going to stick this over here so I can see it, the edges a little better. I'm just going to center that on there. Well, I was trying to center it on there. It's a little wonky, but it is what it is because I put a lot of glue on there. So let me know in the comments if you are still watching the video because mine just disappeared on me and I don't know whether I should restart or not. 1 second. It looks like it's still recording. So if you're still watching, just let me know in the comments and I'm going to try and restart it over here on the side if we can. There we go. Oh, looks like it's still going. All right. So I'm going to line it up corner to corner, point to point across the trimmer, and chop. That was a little thicker than usual. So we've created 2 little triangles, and by the magic of Facebook, I always you ever watch the cooking shows, where, Martha Stewart's cooking something, and then by the magic of television, there's something already done? Look what I did. Oh, my mom says her video froze. Well, I hope everybody was able to get back on and see it. Yeah, my screen said, oh, we're having trouble with this video right now. So hopefully everybody's back on. All right, now I want to do some actual measuring on my layout. And so I've got my ruler and my pencil here, and I'm going to mark my 8-inch line right across here, and my 4-inch line right across from side to side, just like this. Because I want to line some things up, and I don't trust myself to get them in a line without drawing the line. Right, Karen? We don't want to trust ourselves to things like that. So I'm going to go ahead and add some adhesive on there so I can attach my little triangles. Just like that. I'll flip them all over. I like this plaid that this stencil creates. It looks very nice. I've used it a couple times on cards, but never on layout for some odd reason. I guess because it's a card making stencil. There, oh, I almost got it that time. I think I'm going back to the pokey tool. It's just a little bit faster. I'm gonna go ahead and take a few of these off. Da, 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 da. Okay, so what I want to do, get myself straightened around here, is I'm going to line these up on the 8-inch line, just like this. So I got that nice drawn line, and I don't even have to erase it later because you're never going to see it. So I'm just lining it up like that, and then I'm going to put this one over here. And like I said, those fireworks are going to kind of get a little bit covered, but that's okay because they're just for sort of background mystique atmosphere. And then let's take these other two and we're going to put these at the bottom. So we're going to make a layout that kind of has a very horizontal feel, but we'll try to break it up with some of our embellishments and things that we add. And I just realized that a few minutes before I went live, I went and grabbed my embellishment bin, thinking, oh, I should grab a few things out of there to embellish with. Did I do it? No. It's sitting here beside me. And I haven't taken a gander through it. So we'll see what happens. We'll see how it goes. So there we go. We've lined those up. 2 looking up and 2 looking down. Now, if you wanted to be generous with your paper, you could have just cut a large square and put it on the diagonal and then trim the sides off. But I'm going to save some paper and just ignore those little bits there. Now, I need to scooch this out of the way because we're going to do a little bit more measuring. You remember after, the fiasco last time with me putting things all wonky? We're actually doing some measuring today. So I've got another 3x3 little square of white daisy paper. I'm going to line it up here on my 6-inch line so that the 2 points line up. I'm going to grab my ruler. And I'm going to draw straight across from point to point along that 6-inch line, just like that. And then I'm going to come over 1 inch to where it's at the 7-inch line, and I'm going to draw another line, like that. And then over here, we have a teeny tiny bit of the tip that's along that line. So I'm just making 1-inch lines, but when I turn my square back around to be square instead of a diamond, they'll be sort of on the diagonal. Oh, and there goes the video again. Oh my. We're having troubles with videos tonight. So, again, if you're watching, let me know if you got back on okay. I'm going to give it a try over here. I don't know what's going on with the wonderful world of videos. Hopefully it will work once we get around to being done and doing the replay. So Karen's got her eyeballs up saying she can see me. So that's good. Sue is having trouble. All right. So now we have this little 3x3 square that I put like this, drew my lines 1 inch apart. Okay. So now I want to turn them on the horizontal because I want to create another pattern. So the first pattern we did with stenciling. Our second pattern we're going to do is stamping, and we're using the little tiny maple leaf from that Map Your Journey Canada stamp set. And I need a piece of scrap paper just to put in behind this. I'll put it this way so you can see the beautiful pattern on my scrap paper. But that way you can see where the gosh, I gotta stop doing that. You can see where the edges of my white paper are. So let's ink up this teeny tiny little maple leaf. And I'm going to start right in the center, and I'm going to put the stem of the maple leaf on the line, just like that. Now I'm actually going to scooch this down. It'll be in the lower part of your frame, but it'll be a little bit easier for me to see what I'm doing. Next time I want to turn my little maple leaf around, and I'm going to stamp it with the tip of the maple leaf on the line, or close to it, because I couldn't really see. And then I'm going to turn it back around and stamp it the right way up. And then I'm going to turn it around and stamp it the wrong way up. And I'll go this way, the wrong way up, and then turn it around and go the right way up. And I'm going to keep doing this until I filled in the line, until there's no more spots that I could stamp it, because I don't think, nope, nothing would really show if I stamped one more. We'll see. Oh, the teeniest, tiniest little touch there. And now what I want to do is I want to go off and stamp in between, but I'm going to follow this pattern. So this straight ways up one, I'm going to put the tip of it, or close to, the line that I drew. And then I can go over to see where this one is the right way up. I know when I come down here, I'm going to make that one the right way up. This one's the right way up, so I'm going to shift to the left and put that one the right way up. And then I can turn this around and do the in-betweens. So there's, oh my goodness, I'm not lining these up well because when I was doing it before, I had my head above and I could see what I was doing. And, oh, I did too, the same side by side. Well done. Anyway, this is just an example. I actually, by the magic of Facebook, have one already done, which is a good thing. And then you just keep using those lines as your guide, and you can create your own lovely leafy pattern. Okay? And so, like I said, by the magic of Facebook, it makes me think of By the Powers of Grayskull. What was that from? He-Man? I have, look at that. I have one that's already done. And so I've gone and erased the ruler lines that were drawn across. But now I have this cute little paper because I didn't have a little piece of paper that had maple leaves on it. So I created my own. So now I can go ahead and attach this. And I've got a 3 1/4 inch square of avocado cardstock that I'm going to put this one on. I'm just going to do 4 rows across here. And that should be enough. I won't have to go the other direction. And stick it down. So we're having fun. We've created our own patterns with stenciling. Now we've created our own pattern with stamping. Exciting. So let's bring back in our base page. Our lovely base page. And our little photo trimmer. And this time I want to trim it so that it's going across the lines of the pattern. The same way I would have drawn the lines. And line it up and whoop. There we go. This little trimmer is really handy for small pieces. Cutting Picture My Life cards. There's that trimming photos, obviously. It's called a photo trimmer for a reason. And little things like this. Perfect. There we go. Also for doing little banners. Little banners and little flags and little tags. Works perfectly. There we go. Anybody else use one of those little photo trimmers for all the little dainty cuts when you don't want to drag out your big paper trimmer? All right. Now, I'm going to stick this up at the top, and I want to kind of center it. So, you know, I'm going to see if I can do this. We'll see. I'll kind of use use these two as my guide. I want to kind of have about the same amount on either side. Oh, that looks pretty good. Look at that. And I tried to make sure that that topmost one was pointing up. That was my goal. So let's see. Can we line this one up as well? I think so. Oh my. I'm proud of myself. You gotta be proud of yourself sometimes, right? So then what I want to do is I want to bring in a large piece of the avocado to go straight across the center like this. And of course, everything wants to shift. So let's add some adhesive to the back. So this one was cut at 4 1/4. And because we drew those lines at the 8-inch mark and the 4-inch mark, that leaves a 4-inch gap. So by mathematical powers, which I'm not very good at, I'm going to have 1/8 of an inch in which to overlap on my little triangles. So all of these little edges are going to be covered. And I think that's pretty awesome. So let's see if my awesomeness holds true. So we're going to put it 1/8 of an inch below the 4-inch line. There we go. Look at that. So fun. I love the way this is looking. This almost looks like, you know, like a table runner and the napkins, and I don't know. It just kind of has like a picnicky air about it too. So the photos that I'm going to be using today, I haven't even shown them to you yet. I'm slipping. My goodness. I've got these ones that were taken, 2013, I think. So there's Justin. He'd just been getting some face painting done. So he's sitting at the face painting table. And here's Joshua with Papa. I think they were relaxing after eating strawberry shortcake. So those are the photos that I'm going to be using. And I've cut them as 4x4s. So they fit on my page pretty nicely. So I'm going to go ahead and add some adhesive to those. I'm not going to mat them because my green avocado paper acts just like a matting. There we go. And I'm going to kind of line it up so that I got some green all the way around the edges like that. Let's add this one. So for those of you who are watching who are not in Canada, what is your sort of national day that you celebrate? I think, Karen, is it Anzac Day? Or do you have another day? I know Anzac is sort of like a remembrance day, not necessarily a national day. And line this one up-ish. Oh, it just went really crooked. There we go. Bouncing all around. Australia Day. Well, gee, I should have thought of that. Canada Day, Australia Day. Imagine. All right. So now in this center portion here, where is my little piece of paper? I had a little piece of paper sitting here that was supposed to be for this purpose. There it is. I've got a nice little piece of 3x4 candy apple red. That's the word I was looking for. And I'm going to do some heat embossing on this. So I'm going to take my anti-static pouch and just give this a once all over dusting with the anti-static pouch powder, starchy stuff. So that way my embossing powder. Oh my goodness, my brain is not working. My embossing powder will only stick where I want it to stick. So I've got my embossing powder. I've got my scrap piece of paper to catch the embossing powder. I've got my Versamark ink for doing my heat embossing. And I'm going to be stamping the stamp from this exclusive stamp set, the Home and Native Land one. I'm going to do this one here with the Canada Day. And then I'm also going to be stamping the Parliament buildings at the bottom. So we're going to do two things. So I think I might do one and then do the other. Now I might have to move this down. I have issues with stamping far away from my face. I just can't see. Just can't line it up. There we go. Canada with the moose. If the plural of goose is geese, and the plural of moose, is it meese? Nope, it's just moose. Give it a little tap tap. Oh my goodness, isn't that so cool? Love that. All right, let's dump the excess back into our little jar. This is why we love our scrap paper for this. Some people have fancy little tools for doing that. I just use scrap paper. And then I can grab my heat tool and get it heating. So what I want to do is I want to keep this up off of my work surface. I'm just heating up my heat tool here as we talk. And just hold it in the frame so you can see what's happening. And it's hopefully going to be able to see that it goes from dry and powdery to white and shiny by the magic of heat. Woo, look at it go. And turn it around. We got half of it done. And it's always very fun watching heat embossing take shape. There we go. Now, I went ahead and just stamped the one part and not the second part, but I'm going to give my paper just a chance to cool off for half a second, because if I go ahead and stamp and do the second part right now, there's a chance that because the paper is warm, the heat embossing will stick to it, even though I've done the anti-static pouch. So in New Zealand, you have Waitangi Day. Did I say that right? Waitangi Day on the 6th of February. Okay, Waitangi. You'll have to tell me if I've said that right. I'm sure I did not do it right, but attempts are made, right? All right, now I'm going to go ahead and season up the Parliament buildings here. These are new stamps that I haven't used before, and I did season most of them, but I just noticed that I didn't do this one. You just rub it on your hand, and that just takes sort of the factory oils off so that you can get nice ink coverage. Hopefully I didn't get ink everywhere. And then I can go ahead and stamp this, hopefully somewhat straight. And I'll close this and sprinkle on some more embossing powder. Doo-dah, doo-dah. Oh, lovely. It worked well. Nothing stuck, even though it was a teeny bit warm. And the lid. The lid is very important with the embossing powder. Always got to put the lid back on, because if you're like me, you have a very high chance of knocking it over, making a mess. Waitangi. Waitangi. Karen's giving me pronunciation. Waitangi. Very cool. So that would be the equivalent of Canada Day or Australia Day, but in New Zealand. Waitangi. Very cool. I'm loving this white heat embossing on the candy apple red. Isn't that just a great contrast? I love white heat embossing on black, but look at that on the red. Isn't that fun? So we've kind of created our own 3x4 PML card for our layout just by doing that little bit of heat embossing. So I'm going to set that there for a second just to let it kind of cool off before I flip it over and do some other stuff. But I've got some more stamping to do. So while that's sitting there doing its thing, let's do the other stamping. So what I want is I want to stamp the Canadian flag. So I've got my black here, and I've got the little flagpole, and I've seasoned that up. And I have not stamped this before, so we'll see how good I am at lining up the two stamps. So there's the pole. And then we also need the candy apple to stamp the flag part. And I'm going to have to remove this. Good tip, when you're removing stamps from the blocks or the carrier sheet, I like to sort of walk my fingers under the stamp so that you're never pulling on the stamp. You're just lifting it, right? Always important. And then I like to lay my stamps down and pick them up this way rather than putting them on the block. I know a lot of people do it that way, where they put them on the block with their fingers, but I like to pick it up. And I'm just making sure there's no weird air bubbles, because this is a nice, I don't know what that's supposed to be. But it's got some good solid pieces, and I want it to stamp nicely the first time. So sometimes air bubbles can kind of affect the way that it stamps. So let me just scooch this close to my face and see if I can stamp it so that it lines up with the little pole well enough. If you stamped it far away, you could draw the little lines, you know, like the little flag. They have to tie the flag onto there anyway, onto the rope. So you could just add those on. And then what else am I stamping? Oh, I still need the red. We're going to do a lot of stamping in red for this layout. I have the, where did it go? Oh, there it is. The little maple leaf that says True North, Strong and Free. We're going to stamp this as well. Get it good and inky. And then, guess what? Can you guess what we're going to do next? Take a wild guess. I got my scissors. Guess what we're doing? You're right. We're going to fussy cut. You knew it was going to happen, right? It was inevitable. The inevitable fussy cutting. These stamps don't come with thin cuts, so it's not like I chose to do it as opposed to die cutting. They just don't have thin cuts. It's just a stamp for a special sale exclusive, so they didn't do thin cuts, just the stamps. And these are not hard shapes to thin cut around, especially this flag. It's pretty easy. It's just kind of a wavy line. And if you just pivot your paper, keep your scissors still, you get a nice smooth cut. And all the way around, leaving that white halo of cardstock. There we go. And we've also got this. I'm going to do like Julia. Do a rough cut first, and then I can go ahead and do the fussy cut. So what was everybody up to this weekend? I was doing convention all day yesterday because we had Close to My Heart convention virtually Thursday, Friday, Saturday, so that kept me busy. And then in the evening, we watched a show that our whole family watches, the Obi-Wan on Disney Plus. So we watched another episode of that before Julia had to go to bed. And then today everybody was kind of having a lazy day around here, I think. They were all just kind of doing their own thing. Yesterday, Joshua was being very ambitious. We're in the middle of taking down one of the sheds in our backyard. And so he was working on that. And of course it was in the middle of like heat wave. He's got coveralls and a respirator and all sorts of stuff. Because he's taken, you know, our shed has been home to a few wild animals over the last few years. And so you don't really want to be in there breathing stuff in. So he has a respirator on while he's working on it. So by the time he was done, he was like going for a shower. Hot and sweaty. Oh no, Karen, in bed with a cold. Ugh. And how's your arm doing? Have you started physio on it now? There we go. There's our little leafy thing. So now we can go ahead and stick this on. I'm sure it's well and truly cooled by now. We're going to plop this down in the center. And because I put my 2 outside pieces on first, this is a good tip. If you're not sure about how much space you've got, put your 2 outside pieces down first with all the centering that you want, and then you know that whatever's left over is the amount of space that you have, right? So then you just center what's left between those 2 spots, hopefully straight. And then everything's all lined up. Easy peasy. Lemon squeezy. All right, let's add a bit of foam tape to this. We haven't done any popping with foam tape yet. So let's grab my scissors and add some dimension to our flag. It's flying in the breeze. I'll add a little bit down here to the bottom of the flagpole, just to make sure it doesn't go anywhere. Like that. Let's see, I might need the pokey tool for this. Physio started Saturday. Okay, well, that's progress. Yeah, no pain, no gain. You know what? It's probably going to feel really not fun for the first little while. Because, well, of course, for a while you weren't really moving it, right? Injuring ourselves is never, ever fun. There we go. There's our nice little flag. And let's pop our little leafy as well. Hopefully, with a good amount of physio and lots of good healing, you'll get as much motion back in there as you can. So you can keep on keeping on with your crafting and your sewing and your cake decorating and all the many things. There we go. I hope that my thumbnail grows back quick, because that's kind of a pain in the tuchus, not being able to grab everything. All right, now I said I was going to grab some embellishments, and I didn't do it, but my bin is right here beside me. So let's have a little fun dig through the goodie bin. This is how I store all of my embellishments. Let me just pull it in so you can see. So I have one of these cases from, I guess, Michael's, and I created little cardboard, white daisy cardstock dividers. So I've got all my shimmery things and then some bigger things over here. These are like twines and things like that. And then these are dots and sequins and things that are on carrier sheets. And then I've got acrylics and wooden things. And then this loose sequins are all back here. So lots of fun stuff for sure. Now these could be kind of fun, little sprinkles, but I'm not definitely sold on that. The silver sequins could be fun on here. What else? I always like digging through here. Do you guys? Acrylic hearts. Oh, That might be fun. A black heart. That always sounds bad. A black heart. And there's some fun wooden shapes in there. Buttons and all sorts of things. And some older embellishments. I just love looking through here all the time. We could do black and white dots. Oh, look at these little red hearts. I've had them for forever. Those might be fun. Okay, that might be enough. That might be enough. Things. I don't need any more things. Sometimes enough is enough, right? These ones, they're from forever ago. And I actually bought them a partially used pack from somebody. And so that's kind of fun, you know? You just use what you got in your stash. So let's look at the hearts first. Let's see what we can find in here. These are the black acrylic hearts. And we've got some new embellishments coming. New embellies. So that's something to look forward to. Some new things. So if you have some favorites that we carry, you might want to get stocked up on those before they're gone, in case they go. So let me see. We've got a little heart in a little speech bubble. That's kind of fun. Maybe. We've got some littler hearts. We could put one up here maybe because we lost our little the words fail me. Firework. We lost our little firework, but I don't know about that one. Yeah, you know what? I don't think so. Not feeling that. Bum, bum, bum. Okay, let's take out these little enamels. I haven't even used these in probably 2 years. They quite often come out for Valentine's Day, but aren't they cute little enamel hearts? We haven't had hearts for a long time. So let's see. Let's pop a couple of these up in the sky here. Up where the little sparkles are happening. Like that. And then maybe one over here. Just like that. That's a very large triangle, but that's okay. And then maybe a couple down here. We'll put one here with these little guys, and then maybe a couple over here. Like that. That's fun. And then why not add some sequins, because sequins kind of look fun with fireworks. Drugs are your friend. Yep. I can imagine. They would be at this point. All right, let me grab my glue. Guess what I got? Brand new bottle of glue. So exciting. All right, we're going to add a little sequin there, a little sequin there, a little sequin there, and a couple sequins over here, like that, because they're going to look like fireworks. Where's my little picky-uppy tool? And blop. I love this picky-uppy tool. Let me see if I can find... Ooh, there's a teeny tiny one. Plop. They kind of just blend in with those avocado green shimmer splatters that we have going on up there. And there's another really sparkly one. I love our loose sequins mixes because there's always shiny ones and dull ones and iridescent ones. There's even little stars in here. We could add a little star up here with the embellishments too. And let me grab another sequin. Sometimes you gotta dig for the ones you want. There's another nice shiny one. There we go. Okay, looking good. I'm gonna stop there. Oops, I got sequins all over myself. Woo. They're just bouncing around. Okay, I'm gonna stop there because sometimes you just have to know when to stop. And I think that is when. We're calling when. You know, when somebody's adding pepper to your food and they're like, just tell me when. And you're like, okay, when? And if you forget to tell them when, you get a lot more pepper than you bargained for. Oops, there's an interloper. Okay, so there is our fun Canada Day layout featuring both the Map Your Journey Canada stamp set as well as the exclusive Stamptacular Home and Native Land stamp set. We've got some background stamping done with the fireworks. We've got avocado shimmer brush splatters on there and down here. I might even add a little bit more down here. And then we've got our sequins and those cute little enamel hearts from forever ago. We created some paper using the card making stencil pack number 3, using the 2 layered stencils to create this fun buffalo plaid. Then we also use the stamp from the Map Your Journey to create this wonderful red and white leafy pattern. I love how the triangles have just created this really fun celebratory pattern along this center linear matting for all 3 of our pieces going across. Got 2 photos. Then we created our own Picture My Life card using the same stamp set, but this time with the white heat embossing. Stamping out a couple more pieces and fussy cutting them, so not just background stamping or heat embossing, but fussy cutting to create some embellishments, and then adding a few more things, the black acrylic hearts. I think that just turned out really fun and festive, just like Canada Day is, and I hope you guys enjoyed that. I hope you've got a few ideas of what you would like to create when you're celebrating the day for your country. All right. Have a wonderful week ahead, and we will see you soon. Toodaloo. Bye.